Welcome back to Nation of Glory, the home of stories that move the heart, the home where legends are not just remembered, they are felt. Today, we bring you the tale of a woman who turned pain into poetry, silence into strength, and struggle into one of the most unforgettable legacies in the history of wrestling. This is the story of April Jeanette Mendez. The world knows her as Ali. Before the cheers, before the championships, before the world even knew her name, there was a little girl in Union City, New Jersey, growing up with a dream that didn't make sense to anyone around her. She was small, quiet, shy, but in her heart burned something enormous. Every night, she sat in front of a flickering television, eyes wide, watching larger-than-life warriors inside a squared circle. And she whispered to herself, one day, that'll be me. But dreams are never handed to you, especially when the world says you don't belong. Her family struggled. Money was tight, sometimes not even enough for a home. April didn't have glamorous beginnings. She had passion and hunger. Real hunger. Wrestling wasn't just entertainment to her, it was survival. It was the one place where she could become something greater, someone fearless. At 19, she stepped into the independent circuit of New Jersey. The gyms were cold, the crowds small, the paychecks almost nothing, but her fire was everything. She wrestled men twice her size. She fell, got hurt, got up again. Every bump, every bruise was a promise to herself, I'm not stopping. People laughed at her height, at her frame. They said, you're too small. You don't look like the others. But April never wanted to look like the others. She wanted to be something else, something real. When she walked through those locker rooms, she wasn't the biggest, but she was the most determined. The spark that would one day set the world on fire. And then, opportunity knocked WWE tryouts. But this was not Hollywood glamour. It was heartbreak, exhaustion, and rejection on repeat. April tried out once. Twice. And finally, after clawing through every doubt, she earned a contract. She wasn't just April Mendez anymore. She was Ali. At first, the world didn't know what to make of her. The Divas division at that time was painted in bright colors, glamour, and glitter. But I was different: dark hair, Converse sneakers, comic book heart. She didn't fit the mold. She broke it. Slowly, the crowd began to feel her, the awkward girl with fire in her eyes, the underdog who didn't hide her emotions. She was real, and the fans saw themselves in her. Then came love and chaos, drama and destiny. Ali's story in WWE wasn't just matches, it was cinema. She played the wild card, the unpredictable rebel, the woman whose heart could twist a storyline in one look. One moment she was the geeky sweetheart cheering for her favorite stars, the next she was standing tall, slapping giants, stealing the spotlight. She wasn't acting, she was living. Every storyline, every moment, carried the echoes of her real emotions, her real battles. But behind the fame was a storm. The pressure of television, the expectations of millions, and the constant fight for respect in a world that often underestimated women. Back then, women's wrestling wasn't given the spotlight it deserved. Ali changed that. Night after night, she gave everything. She turned short segments into statements, turning seconds of airtime into moments people never forgot. And then came the promo, that fiery, fearless speech where Ali stood in the ring and called out every stereotype in women's wrestling. She didn't just talk, she exposed a truth. She said, I'm not here because I'm cute. I'm here because I can wrestle. The crowd roared. The division shifted. The world saw not a diva but a warrior. She became the voice of every girl who had ever been told she wasn't enough. She became the heartbeat of a revolution that would, years later, change WWE forever. The women's revolution didn't begin overnight, it began in moments like that, when I refused to be quiet. Her rise was meteoric. Championship after championship, moment after moment, Ali became the face of resilience. She wasn't just fighting opponents, she was fighting perception. Her matches were fast, fierce, and emotional. Her connection with the audience was electric. When her music hit, people didn't just cheer, they felt something. But behind that success was still April Mendez, the same girl who had slept on floors, who had dreamed with an empty stomach, who still carried scars nobody saw. Fame doesn't erase pain, sometimes it magnifies it. And yet, she kept going, smiling through the storms, inspiring silently. Her relationship with wrestling was complicated. It gave her a platform, but it also tested her soul. Still, Ali never broke character because she was the character. The strong one. The defiant one. The girl who dared to believe she belonged in a man's world and proved it every single night. But then came the moment nobody expected, Ali walking away from the ring. At the height of her career, when she could have kept soaring, she chose peace over pressure. Some called it shocking. Others called it brave. The truth? It was both. She had given everything she had, body, mind, and heart. And now, it was time to heal. When she left, the world didn't just lose a performer, it lost a pioneer. But legends never disappear, they echo. And as echo was felt long after she hung up her boots. Because every woman who came after her carried a piece of her courage. Every main event, every championship, every chant of "This is awesome," you can trace it back to Ali. And while the spotlight dimmed, her story didn't stop. She wrote her book, Crazy is My Superpower, became a symbol of raw honesty and resilience. In it, she spoke about her struggles with mental health, about growing up poor, about being imperfect and proud of it. And that book reached hearts far beyond the wrestling ring. Suddenly, people saw the real April Mendez, the writer, the thinker, the survivor. Through every word, she told the world that being broken doesn't mean being weak, it means being real. She taught that strength isn't the absence of pain, it's the ability to stand despite it. And for millions who fought silent battles, Ali became more than a wrestler. She became a voice. Then, years later, whispers began, rumors, hopes, possibilities. Could Ali return? Could the rebel queen of wrestling make her way back home? And in 2025, the answer arrived: yes. The world rejoiced. The crowd exploded. Ali was back in WWE, and this time, she returned not as the underdog, but as the legend she had always been. The ring that once tested her had now become her kingdom. But she didn't return to chase titles. She returned to inspire, to show a new generation that the revolution she once sparked still burns bright. And when she walked down that ramp again, you could see it in her eyes. This wasn't about proving herself anymore. It was about passing the torch. Every step she took was cinematic, a full circle moment of destiny. The fans chanted her name like it was a song they had been waiting years to sing again. The lights, the sound, the emotion, it wasn't just nostalgia. It was legacy. Ali's story is not about perfection. It's about persistence. About believing in something when no one else does. About being different and being proud of it. She showed the world that you can be small, soft-spoken, geeky, emotional, and still be the strongest one in the room. Because real power doesn't come from muscles or fame, it comes from authenticity. From showing your scars. From standing up every time you're told to sit down. That's why her story resonates not just with wrestling fans, but with anyone who's ever been overlooked. She reminded us that dreams are not for the chosen few, they're for anyone willing to fight through rejection, through fear, through doubt. The girl who once couldn't afford a ticket to a wrestling show ended up becoming the main event. That's not luck. That's destiny written in courage. Even now, her presence in WWE isn't just nostalgia, it's a reminder. A reminder that change starts with a whisper. That one person's fight can ignite a movement. And that legacy isn't built in gold belts, it's built in hearts. Every young woman who steps into the ring today stands on the foundation I helped build. From the Sasha Bankses to the Becky Lynches, from the Charlottes to the Baileys, all of them owe a piece of their moment to the fire Ali lit years ago. She was the bridge between what women's wrestling was and what it could become. And yet, what makes her story so powerful isn't just the fame. It's the humanity. The honesty. The willingness to say, yes, I struggled but I'm still here. Because that's the truth about heroes, they don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather jackets, laced boots, and a smile that hides storms. Ali showed us that it's okay to be crazy. That it's okay to feel too much, care too deeply, dream too wildly. Because those are the very things that make you unstoppable. She turned the word crazy into a crown. Into her superpower. When she stands today under those bright lights, there's no act left, only truth. The truth that no matter where you come from, no matter how small you start, no matter how broken your past, if you believe enough, if you fight enough, you can rise. And when she lifts her head and smiles at the crowd, that's not a performer smiling. That's April Mendez, the girl who made it. So to every dreamer listening right now, to everyone who's been told you're too small, too weird, too different, remember Ali's story. Remember that greatness isn't about fitting in. It's about standing out. It's about turning every no into a watch me. Because that's what legends do. They don't follow paths, they build them. They don't wait for permission, they make history. Ali didn't just change wrestling. She changed what it meant to be powerful. She made emotion beautiful. She made struggle inspiring. She made imperfection iconic. And her legacy, her true legacy, isn't written in championship gold. It's written in every person who found courage through her story. So when the music hits, when the crowd chants her name, when the lights shine once again, remember what you're watching isn't just a superstar returning. It's a full circle miracle. A woman who dared to dream when dreaming was impossible. And a woman who proved that once you find your voice, you never lose it. Because Ali isn't just a name. She's a message. That no matter how many times life knocks you down, you can still rise, and when you do, rise higher than before. This has been Nation of Glory, the home of the fighters, the dreamers, the believers. The home of legends like Ali. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own fight, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nation of Glory. More stories are coming, more fire, more legacy, more heart. Until next time, remember, your struggle can become your superpower. This is Nation of Glory, signing off.